Great morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm just waiting to confirm my live. There we are. Perfect. We're live. This is Lashes and Coffee. I wish I could tell you what number it is, but it's probably in the 300s. I am spinning off from my morning mentorship situation. Okay, let me make sure I'm live on Instagram. Takes a minute sometimes. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're live on IG. Oh, TikTok. One more. One more. All right. I'm a super nerd, so I am live in 8 places, and I'm here to help the lash industry succeed. That is my passion. I want to make sure nobody's alone in the industry. So, how do you like my new background? And also, can you all just confirm that you can hear me? Hi, Miss Lash Expert. What's going on? Happy Wednesday. Let's see. Quote of the day is your consistency will outlast everyone's intensity. Keep showing up. And that's why I'm here today. I am here because I have been showing up 13 weeks straight, 7:30 a.m. for Lashes and Coffee. I used to do this every day, 7 a.m., 7 days a week. I'm a lash artist of 18 years. I'm an educator for 14 years. I'm obsessed with all things lashes. I feel like we are so blessed to be in this industry. And I keep showing up. I keep showing up 7:30 Wednesdays. I really do think I'm going to change our time because I feel like the days of 7 a.m. are over, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going. So feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have a question specific to you. This is basically your opportunity for complimentary mentoring who has a lot of experience in the industry. And I can literally talk lashes all day long. So we did talk a lot about pricing last week. So I'm going to move on to some other questions that have come in. Here's a technical skills question. What's the most important technique to master first? Well, technique is obviously super important to your reputation. And that is something that I notice is very uncommon, that lash artists will come in with experience, but they're not doing. Hi, beauty and artistry. How are you this morning? Feel free to ask anything you want to know. Thanks for being here. We're talking all things lash business, and so it's very shocking to me that lash artists come in for auditions to our salons to work, and they don't necessarily do lashes correctly. It's why I went into educating 14 years ago. Is I just very passionate about people doing lashes correctly. So first things first, isolation. You would think that's common sense. It's not. A lot of people come in for auditions and they're not isolating properly. I don't know if that's just lack of proper tools. So one thing that I always recommend is always having backup of your tweezers, having good tweezers. Isolation is number one. However, what I have also noticed is that application of volume fans is very interesting to me. And I just see a lack of solid bonds. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if enough people aren't wrapping, but that is a common issue that I see. So just learning how to do lashes correctly is, oh shoot. I think I'm hitting too many buttons over here. Okay. Anyway, confirm if you can hear me. I'm also on multiple platforms. And I can see all your comments. We are on Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn. Anyway, all right. What's the best adhesive for beginners? Now, this is an interesting question. I've always been a fan of not using any type of beginner adhesive. If you're just learning, you shouldn't use. Thank you, BW Lash Co. Shout out where you're from. If you're hanging out here with me and you're like staying for a minute, shout out where you're from. I'm just curious where everybody is tuning in from and what time it is where you are. I don't believe in learning in any type of beginner adhesive. I believe you should just go in and learn at the speed that you're going to learn. I will say I am a huge fan of Black Magic by Brilliant Lash Pro. It is like a godsend. Everybody who tries that adhesive is happy. Beauty and Artistry says, I think technical skills are important, but also customer service skills are essential. I just kicked my camera. Sorry for that. Yes, thank you for that. We got Ohio in the house. Good morning. Okay, so it's 10:45. See, it's 7:30 here in California. So I'm curious what time is good for everyone to show up. But yes, beauty and artistry, I totally agree. You know what? Thank you for bringing that up because technical skills are important. Okay, that's number one. And you know what I always say, especially because this is for any of you. Oh, more Ohio. Hello, Ohio. I'm glad you're here. I should come to Ohio. Um, I will say that um, when I'm interviewing people to come work at the salon, I say you can teach lashes, but you can't teach energy. And I agree. You're in a customer service based industry. And don't get me wrong, I think that like it's complicated sometimes. I think we're in the weirdest time where people are just not comfortable socially. Like it's only getting worse. But also, this is such an amazing opportunity to be like to have community in person. And yeah, it's amazing that people don't have good bedside manner. Um, Customer service. I have a whole course that I include in my training that's called the 5-star service because I believe outside of your technical skills, you need to provide a service that's memorable to the person. If you're wanting to build truly a clientele of people, people who are like sharing or like referring people to you, you want to stand out, right? So I don't know. I think there's so many levels of being a successful service provider. It starts with the booking process. Is it easy to book with you? Is it clear? Is there I'm like a super nerd when it comes to like websites and stuff like that. So like even just your landing page, whatever that is, you don't need a fancy website. I think if you're a lash artist, especially a solo lash artist, you do not need a fancy website, but you do need like a landing page, right? Like a link tree or something like that. I mean, most scheduling services will offer a website. I like Square personally. I use Square for scheduling. The free version has plenty of features. You don't even need to pay. And I also like Square because I'm a fan of simplicity. Like there are some great scheduling platforms out there like Gloss Genius and things like that, but sometimes to me they're overly complicated. I want to see like a streamlined version. So anyway, the scheduling, I think that you should have an automatic email confirmation, not only for scheduling, but a follow-up text, personalized follow-up text saying, "Hi, I'm so excited. I have you for this date. Fill out my client history form." That's a huge thing that people don't do. I always say do not lash anybody who hasn't signed a form. Legend goes, "What do you do for a living?" Well, I train people how to do lashes. I'm a lash artist. I do lashes. I own 2 salons in California. I own a training company and a line of supplies. That's coming from YouTube. Okay. So BW Lash says Square has been a dream. My entire business is so all in one, right? So I'm such a software nerd. I'm like a big fan of software companies that are constantly making things easier for the customer. Square is one of those companies. They're just so beautiful, so streamlined. If you're looking for a scheduling company, look at we all are recommending Square. But yeah, the ability that Square has to do reminder texts, reminder emails. So that's kind of the difference between the free version and the paid one. I think it's $29 a month to upgrade if you want. And you get like more texts and more like you can have confirmation, which I think is kind of cool. What am I seeing here? Oh, my coffee. So back to the client experience, customer service, as Beauty and Artistry was saying, is that um, I think one of the biggest things that has set us apart over the years is just having a client history form. Some people are shocked that they've never signed something before. And a client history form is so important. Not only do you want your basic information about your customer, but this is such an amazing opportunity to educate them. So on my client history form, which if you want it, just shoot me a DM. I can give you my client history form template if you want. I'm training my customers. So, how do you sleep? How fast does your hair grow? Do you have a tendency to rub or pull your eyelashes? What's your workout routine? These are things that are super important to understand about your client's retention. And so they're like, now they're in on the reasons why these are important because they're like, oh, why would she need to know that? Right. But what I love about a client history form is I always include the disclaimers of you're agreeing to my 24-hour cancellation policy. So I have a 24-hour cancellation policy. If you don't, you should implement one today. And that means that if you don't reschedule your appointment before the 24-hour mark, then there's a 50% charge. So if you cancel your appointment 10 hours, 15 hours before your appointment time, I have a 50% charge. And I think that's fair because guess what? Our time is super valuable. you have probably turned people away if someone's in your books taking up time. So I think it's very important to enforce, and these rules are not easy to enforce. I know that. That's why I love a client history form that basically, before they ever see you for their first time, they're agreeing to your cancellation policy. I also, up to you. We added a couple years ago to our standards that if you're paying a credit card, we add a fee. And you know what? A lot of businesses do that. I think that's fair. We like to incentivize clients to pay with other payment forms because, credit card processing fees can really, really add up. So I'm sure you all know that. So anyway, adding whatever disclaimer you want into your client history form is a great hack. Not to mention, you can even have them agree to make sure they're coming in with clean lashes. You can have them agree that they have to come within 2 to 3 weeks in order to not have to pay more. I charge more if you come past 2 weeks. I know there are outliers, and I know there are a lot of people out there that can go past two. I mean, I wouldn't even say a lot, but there are people that can go past 2 weeks. But for me, my clients come every 2 weeks. Just that's how it works. Like, I have reoccurring appointments. That's how I want to run my business. Every other Monday at 8 a.m., I have the same person. 9 a.m., 10, 11, I have the same person. And it allows me to keep my appointment times at an hour, because if your clients are and you have to spend more time, then that doesn't work. So many reasons to have a client history form. Again, this is just on the topic of customer service and ways that I think you can set yourself apart. And so I really like this black background. Like, I'm really digging it. So also, if anyone wants one-on-one mentoring, I do pop on here at 7:30 a.m. PST every other Wednesday, and I'm always offering a moment of free time. I am passionate about helping businesses succeed, and I am super nerdy when it comes to marketing and just customer experience. So we're talking about customer experience. Hi, Spray Lounge. How are you? Great morning. Happy Wednesday over across the interwebs. If you're just joining, shout out where you're from. I'm curious where everyone's dialing in from and what time it is. But so now we have the consultation form. We used to call it a waiver. We decided to change the name from waiver to client history form because we feel like waiver sounds like scary sometimes. So we call it that. So I think you should reach out personally. I think you should put a credit card on file. That kind of goes hand in hand with the cancellation policy. Well, guess what? If you don't put a card on file, you can't really enforce a cancellation policy either. It puts you in a really awkward position. And sometimes it's super rare. Like, we have a lot of people who are respectful of your time, but it's that one time when somebody comes in and they're not respectful, and then you're screwed. Beauty and Artistry says, by the way, what's your name? As we walk into the holiday season, what kind of offers do you suggest to bring in new clients, but also for our current clients? That's a great question. Because what's funny, I've thought a lot about sometimes running specials is like, it's like almost like, why run a special? I know this sounds bad, like, sorry, Jasmine. Great morning, Jasmine. This sounds bad, but it's almost like, why would you want to discount your clients who are already paying you full price, right? So there is a little bit of a conflict there as far as, we're making money. But obviously, a great way to not have that be an issue would be is running a special for new clients, a new client special. When I started my business almost 20 years ago, I don't know where I got this like insight or why I decided to do this, but I always started with my prices being higher and discounting them. So 20 years ago, I advertised my full sets for $300, but they were 50% off for new clients. That everybody was a new client. So I think that that's honestly a year-round strategy that you should employ until you are so booked you can't take new clients, and then you can just basically turn on that full price. But you should always offer a new client special. That's a great way to drive in new clients. I know that the market could seem saturated in some places, but I think one way to set yourself apart is, in fact, I've been getting DMs for mentoring. So if you're following me on Instagram and you text or DM me exec, like, I'm just building my mentoring business. So I'm kind of just giving people complimentary mentoring right now. But I think that, your online presence is just so important. And I'm looking at some of these businesses' Instagram feeds, and it's like, there's a lot of invaluable content there. It's not even that important to be posting too much if your content isn't good. And so we need to have to set yourself apart. You really need to have good quality pictures of your work, period. Like for our industry, if you're trying to get lash clients, they want to see your work. You have to put yourself in a client's shoes. If you're going to get a service like something on your face, you're going to want to see like how qualified is that person to be, altering my face. So in general, Jasmine and everybody who's tuning in, I do think that you know, the holidays are a great time to drive new traffic, but you wanna drive traffic year round. In fact, in my experience in the industry for so many years, the holidays are the least well, what's the word I'm looking for? You don't have to try as hard for the holidays. The holidays are the least effort that you have to put out to get new clients because there's just an influx of people who wanna be glammed up for the holidays. Like, this is the time. So, how are you setting yourself apart when those people are out there and they're looking and they're searching for lash extensions in your area? What's coming up? Are you setting yourself apart in a way where people are like, "That's who I wanna go to?" So, I think putting yourself on your socials, making videos, talking videos of yourself. I always want to see what the person looks like. So share more about yourself, but also have good quality photos. And honestly, it's so easy now. Our devices have such high quality cameras. Like you should have a good light. Everyone has those moonlights now. If you don't grab a moonlight, that changed the game. Like, I'm not a fan of glamcore. I don't mess with big giant ring lights anymore. The moonlight, get them on Amazon. Great even lighting. That even lighting is so important to your pictures. Make sure you're keep cleaning your camera. Make sure you're focusing your camera. Um, Post your pictures. That's it. So if you're not proud of your work, that goes a layer deeper. If you don't have work that you're proud of, you need to work on your skills. That goes back to that is step one. You can't build a reputation and you can't build a loyal clientele if you're not doing good work. So improve your skills, improve your pictures, have pictures up. I would say people get caught up with posting too much. If you post one quality post a week, that's actually good enough. I think that when people are searching for a new business to invest in, depending on your business, I think I'm talking to mostly lash artists or service providers. If your last post was in 2023, then they're just going to move on. But if your last post was a week ago, then at least you look current and relevant. It doesn't matter if you have 7 posts a week or, 10 posts a week. I think having solid highlights that express your pricing, your policies, and just really good evidence of your work, that's what's going to set yourself apart. And again, yes, the holidays are this themed time. If you want to, it's a great opportunity to maybe send an email blast out to like all the clients that have ever come to see you, because now depending on where you're at in your career, you might have quite a bit of clients in your scheduling system that maybe never came back, so you can incentivize people to come back. If you're interested in running a special to your current clients, you could also, and this is kind of like a helpful way to carry you through the new year, is you can run a package special. You could say, for this time only, I'm selling 5 refills for X amount of money. And then that might help them. Like that might be a win-win-win for a lot of people, because maybe customers are like, okay, great. Like I would love to just spend a chunk of money, know that my lashes are covered for the next couple of months so I can use all my money to spend on gifts. That also gives you almost like what I would recommend for many people in our industry is that you have to expect that January and February are going to be a little slower. Like that's just traditionally and never changed over the years. So if maybe you sell a bunch of packages, maybe you could budget yourself, set aside some money for January and not feel that decline in business that usually does happen. So that could be a very useful way to, get ready for it and offer specials. But I do agree that customer service is going to be like one of your most important aspects of your business. Like talking to those of you who shoot stuff out into the comments. Thank you, Ohio, for being here and tuning in from all of the platforms. Join me every Wednesday morning, every Wednesday. I have this like dream of doing it daily again, but I just don't know if I'll run out of things to talk about. So keep showing up. That was today's quote of the day. If you joined late, I'll just tell you one more time. Quote of the day was, your consistency will outlast everyone's intensity. Keep showing up. So you keep tapping into your passion, keep showing up, and you will. So thanks for being here. Hope you have an amazing day. I'll see you next Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. I am considering changing the In Vogue Spa. I am considering changing the time of this to reach more people on the West Coast. I guess I'm just some kind of unusual early bird and people don't like to join at this time. But how do you like my black background? I know I'm like, oh my gosh, my belly is showing this morning, but big deal, right? This is me. I'm liking this black background. What do you think? Do you like it? I think I might even start just streaming my videos live, as far as like I have a bunch of videos to shoot. So here's some behind the scenes like stuff that I'm doing is I want like a welcome video for every page on my website. So I have 2 salon locations, and so I have like a website that like the landing page just shows like San Diego, Monterey, and I want like a video there. And then I want a video for like the San Diego location and then one for the Monterey location. And so I'm going to be shooting videos for that, and maybe I'll just like stream them live, you know? I don't know. But anyway, I'm just rambling. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Stay tuned for any schedule changes if you like joining. Bye.